Hi everybody, welcome to VLSI Point. So today we are going to start our new playlist which is FPGA based system design in English. FPGA is a very important topic no matter you are a BTech student, MTech student or PhD scholar, and this playlist will be very much helpful for you because we are going to cover all the topics related to FPGA, that is the IC classification, need of FPGA, its architecture, design flow, and finally the design implementation on FPGA. You might have seen that FPGA board, the green color board in your lab, and FPGA is something which we can use to implement our code to check whether the code is working properly or not. It's very less time consuming and also affordable. So most of the time we use FPGA board to check and implement our code. So without any delay, let's get started today's video. We will start with the IC classification. So here you can see IC stands for integrated circuit. It is also called electronic circuit, microchip or simply a chip. So an IC is a semiconductor chip on which electronic circuits are mounted. It's a tiny electronic components created and connected together on a single semiconductor wafer to achieve a common function. So it's a collection of electronic components like resistor, transistors, capacitors, etc. So this is all about IC, which is integrated circuit. Now this IC is divided into two parts, ASICs and PLDs. Actually these are of two types of ICs. ASIC stands for application specific integrated circuit. It is designed for a specific application, and once it is programmed it could not be changed. That means it is not reprogrammable. It is very much specific to the application. Also it's a time consuming process to fabricate an ASIC chip, and it's also very expensive. Once you will implement your code on ASIC, you will not be able to change that code. So that's why we are telling it's not reprogrammable. The second thing we have is PLD, which is programmable logic device. So it's an electronic component which is used to build the reconfigurable digital circuit. It mainly contains the array of AND gates and OR gates. So this PLD is further divided into three types: SPLD, CPLD and FPGA. SPLD stands for simple programmable logic devices. It is the simplest, smallest and the least expensive form of programmable logic device. Also, it's very less complex as compared to the CPLD. Here CPLD is nothing but complex programmable logic device and FPGA is field programmable gate array. So now we will see how SPLD is further divided into PROM, PAL and PLA. So here in this figure it will be more clear to you how PROM is working. So in PROM, we have fixed AND array at input side and programmable OR array at output side. If the normal ROM has programmable feature, then it is called the PROM, means programmable read-only memory. And it gives more flexibility to us to program the circuit. Now the second one is PAL, which is programmable array logic. It has fixed OR array and programmable AND array. Also, it is less flexible as compared to the PLA. Finally, we have PLA, which is programmable logic array. It contains programmable AND array and programmable OR array. So now we can see a more detailed circuit. So guys, when I am calling fixed AND array or programmable OR array, also the fixed OR array and programmable AND array. So what is the meaning of fixed array and programmable array? So fixed means what? All the possible connections are available before and after the programming. However, in case of programmable, once the programming current has passed, the unwanted connections will be off. So in programmable, all the connections are not available. However, in case of fixed, all the connections are available before and after the programming. So this is what the difference between fixed array and programmable array. It will be more clear to you when you will see the circuit implementation. PROM circuit, the three inputs are A, B, C and the outputs are Y and Z. So you can see here we are implementing this Y equals to A bar, B bar, C bar plus A bar, B, C plus B bar, C bar. So Y is nothing but the min term of 0, 1, 3 and 4. Similarly, the Z is A bar, B, C plus A bar, B bar, C bar plus B, C bar. So Z is nothing but the min term of 0, 2, 3, 6. Now how we can implement these two outputs with the help of AND and OR gates? So you can see here. With NOT gates, we are just generating the negation of ABC, and finally we have the programmable connection, these black ones, and the fixed connection, which is the red one. So finally we are getting our output Y and Z. So this is how we are implementing the circuit using PROM. The second one is PAL. So how we can implement a circuit using PAL? Here we are having this black, which is the fixed connection, and the red one, which is programmable connection, because in PAL we have programmable AND array and fixed OR array. The third one is PLA. So here both the connections are programmable in nature, programmable AND array and programmable OR array. So this is how we can implement a circuit using PLA. So now we will move towards the FPGA, which is field programmable gate array. These FPGAs are the device that can be configured to act like any circuit. So it's basically a type of integrated circuit that enables the development of custom logic for rapid prototyping and the final system design. Ideally, it is suited for today's fastest growing application like edge computing, artificial intelligence, 5G, robotics, automation, etc. So let's move towards the FPGA. FPGA stands for Field Programmable Gate Array, and it's a device that can be configured to act like any circuit. It's basically a type of integrated circuit IC that enables the development of custom logic for rapid prototyping and final system design. So ideally it is suited for today's fastest growing application like edge computing, artificial intelligence, 5G, robotics, automation, etc. FPGA is very much faster than the CPUs, and also FPGA is having reconfiguration nature. That means if we are writing a program, it can be reprogrammable. Mean to say, we can perform the reconfiguration or we can just change the program as long as we'll get the desired result. So that's why we are calling FPGA as a reprogrammable circuit. Now, what is the need of FPGA? So once after the fabrication of VLSI chips, we can't do any alteration to the design. If there is any bug in the design, the fabrication chip is a waste. Because in case of ASIC implementation, it takes a long time and also it's a very expensive process. And if there is a bug, then the entire fabrication will be waste. So we can say it's a wastage of money, time and power. If it is working properly in FPGA, we can think about converting into the hardware VLSI chip. So simply the process is, if we are writing a code or if we are trying to implement a design, first we should try that code on FPGA. If everything is fine, the code is working properly, then we can think on implementing that code on ASIC. So this is why we need FPGA. Now we will see the block diagram of FPGA. So here you can see FPGA consists CLBs, which is configurable logic block, then the IO, which is input output blocks, and the programmable interconnect, or we are also calling it switch matrix. So this FPGA block diagram we will cover in detail in our next video. Now we will see FPGA versus ASIC. What is the difference between FPGA and ASIC? So FPGA is a very faster time to market. That means we can quickly implement our code and check how it is working. Is there any bug or not? However, in case of ASIC, it's a very time consuming process. So it's having a slower time to market. Also, FPGA is reprogrammable in nature. However, ASIC is application specific. We cannot reprogram this. FPGA has a relatively slower speed in the range of megahertz. However, in case of ASIC, it is relatively faster in speed. The frequency is of the range gigahertz. So this is what we have seen. What is the FPGA and what is the need of it? Actually, that FPGA has introduced in late 1980s, and now that FPGA board which we are using is very much different than the earlier one which has introduced in late 1980s. That was a very basic one, but now which board we are using is a very advanced and it is giving a very high performance. So guys, this is all about today's video. I hope you like the content. Don't forget to like the next video which will be based on the FPGA block diagram and its architecture. So guys, thanks for watching. If you have any doubt, let me know in the comment box.